Hello, everyone. Let's see. Oh, realize I got this on the wrong hand here. Let me make sure I can find myself. Sometimes it's hard to see the comments. There we go. Turn down the volume. Okay. Hey, Brina. All right. Hi, Gail. I'm like trying to figure out because sometimes the comments pop up and sometimes they don't. They're so strange. But anyway, hi, Diana. Hi, Stacy. Nice to see you guys. Sorry, I grabbed the phone with my wrong hand, so apparently this is my tired hand, so it's a little shaky. So I have just been trying. I've been trying to go live a little bit more facing front, in case you guys haven't seen me in some time, so you know what I actually look like. So just a couple quick things before we start. Tomorrow begins Celebration, which is really great. I will show you a little bit more of the stuff when we get down to the craft table. But basically, tomorrow you will be able to earn. There's some things in here that are $50 and some things that are $100. But if you have a $50 purchase or $100 purchase or $150, then you get to pick 2 or 3, depending. You do earn free goodies with Celebration. So that also means that tomorrow, or I should say today, is the last day for the holiday catalog, which I know people are probably all over the holidays, but they do have a couple little Valentine's things in there as well. So this catalog will be coming to a close. There are some items that'll be carrying over, some that will stay active, some that won't come back until the next holiday catalog, so keep that in mind. But what I thought we would do today is to make some cards, and I actually got this idea with using the Memories and More kit, and this is in the Tropical Oasis, I think it's called Tropical Oasis bundle, which will go live tomorrow. But I thought we could also do a couple of them with the Come Sail Away Memories and More pack. And one interesting thing I want to note, and I'm going to flip down so I can show you guys this. That way you'll be able to see what it is I'm talking about. But these don't really come in the packages anymore like they did. So they did have them in packages. Now they kind of come in just clear cello. So just kind of brace yourself for that. So I'm going to go ahead and flip you guys down. So if you do get motion sick, just look away for a moment. I'm going to flip you over to the markers and ink pads and whatnot. And sorry, we're almost there. Hang in there. All right, and we're settled. So if you get sick, now you can look back. So they used to come in these little boxes when they sold them. But for some reason now they just come in cello. So that's kind of a bummer because you could keep them organized because there's smaller ones and then there are bigger cards as well. Also, you get stickers and stuff, so lots of fun stuff. So this one is in the annual catalog, so that's in this big catalog here, in case you missed it. So they have lots of different designs, and you could use these for making scrapbooks. You could use them maybe for mini albums, lots of different stuff you can do. You could also use them with the 6x6 album, so just kind of keep that in mind. But these will be available starting tomorrow, so since I have them, I can actually share them. And I thought it would be fun if we made 4 cards, so we're going to do 2 each. So we'll do 2 out of the new pack and then 2 out of the pack in case maybe you have this laying around and you don't know what to do with it. But they have a lot of really nice prints, first of all. So that is sometimes the hardest part because you can't decide which one do you want to use. The woodies that are in the palm trees, which are awesome, or Let's Go to the Beach. So I guess it is nice. You do get 2, so you could do kind of 1 of each, so that's pretty cool. But I thought it would be a really neat idea if you could make a really simple card just using these. Maybe if you didn't have either a lot of supplies yet, or you were in a time crunch and you were trying to make something really quick. So my thought was, what we can do is we can somehow make it into a card, but I haven't done one yet, so I don't really know what it is that I think I'm going to do. But no, I do agree with you. I think the other thing, Diana, is a lot of this has some really different prints, like the bananas and the palm leaves, which are really cute. And then the flamingo. So it does have a lot of really complementary layers to it. And I think a lot of these, like mahalo, that's a beautiful, beautiful saying. Love that. Love the palm trees. But maybe some of this you're kind of like, well, what do I really do with that? So what we're going to do is we're going to figure out a way for 2 of these And we're going to make them into cards, and then we'll do the same with this one. I just want to show you this in case you missed it. It does have some stickers that come with it as well. And I think you get 2 sheets of each. So you have 2 of these that you could put together. So they're really pretty. I don't know if this has a center that comes out. No, this is all one full long sticker. So you could stamp something, make it really easy. So thank you all for joining me. So one other thing I'll tell you, and then I will, I won't say I'll stop talking about it, but I'll talk about it a little bit less tomorrow. If you do join as a demonstrator, as part of my team, which I'm part of the Rainbow Stampers, that's a team I named after Christian. He calls himself the Rainbow Stamper. So you do get this little mini cutter. You also get a 6x6 sampler pack of the DSP. You get to choose $125 worth of anything in any catalog, clearance rack, whatever. As long as it's on sale, you can put it in your cart. And you only pay $99. It ships for free. They do send you a pack of catalogs and some business supplies if you chose to run it as a business. You also do get a past paper pumpkin kit, so that's pretty cool if you haven't used one. You get a little extra bonus there. Maybe you could give it to someone to help if they were on the fence of deciding whether or not they wanted to be a demonstrator. But there's not any actual sales that you are required to do, so you can just join for the fun of it. You can just join for the discount. You don't have to have parties or do videos or anything. You can just do it to get some great stuff at a cheaper price. So this is one of the things that comes with it. If you are, if you do join, if you are currently a demonstrator, that's the only way we're allowed to purchase this. But after that, they said they don't think they will be available. They don't know what they have in stock. So I'm just going to take that as probably no, but I guess you never know. Also, I do have some blog hops coming up in the next few weeks that I'll be participating in. So if you haven't followed my blog, you can find me on rachthestamper.com. I do post there very regularly, and I post a lot of stuff. I was actually tied for 6th place, which is pretty amazing the first time I entered, in Kylie Bertucci's International Training blog hop. So be sure you stay tuned there. And you can always find ideas. I do still have my DSP and ribbon share sign up. Today is going to be the last day. It is almost full. So if that's something you're interested in, you will get a 4th of the DSP and a 5th of the ribbon if you join. And there is one to do both if that's something you're interested in. So what I'm going to do first, and again, you can find that on my blog. If you go to the specials page, which is the January shop join specials, it's the very first thing at the top. You just click the link. It takes you to a Google form, and then I'll be sending out the payment papers later today. So what I was thinking I would do is pick one of these cards that kind of has, I'm going to do one that's smaller and then one that's larger. But I was trying to think if we picked one that kind of had something already written in it would be fun, and then do one where we're going to stamp something in it. So choices kind of are, they're very pretty. Oh, and thank you, Kathy. Happy New Year's, everyone. That is very nice. Thank you for reminding me. I hope you all had a wonderful holiday. I did see some people on Facebook on Monday, but I haven't done a YouTube yet. So I'm kind of trying to get back into my regular schedule. This one will be cute because there's not really any definition of anything that's cut out. So maybe if you have someone that you went on vacation with or someone that you're going on a trip with, this would be a really nice one to use. So I'm kind of tied between that. I really like the Rest and Relaxation. The Aloha is really pretty. Oh, how could you even cut that out? That would be a hard one to cut apart. So there's that. We're going to pick one of these, and then we're going to do one of the larger cards. And we will make 2 from the tropical and then 2 from the Come Sail Away. We'll make 1 large and 1 small, and that way it'll give you guys some ideas of just little things you can do with the DSP. Now, you certainly could use the big side. And with this one, I probably would say I wouldn't be able to cut this in half, so I'd have to keep this one as whole. But let's see. This one would be pretty. Of course, we would have to, remember, trim this down because this is a little bit bigger. So let me see. I feel like these are 4x6, but let me see. Yep. 4x6. So if you were using this one, you would have to have a larger card. So that would be kind of the one downside to that. But you could always make a larger card and then do your, this would be a nice one too. Do your own card base. You could cut your own card base and make your own envelope. There's one that I had a really good idea with, and I cannot find it now. That one is cute. Loving Today. You can make yourself like a little list there. I think I'm going to go with this one because even though it is a little bit larger, we could probably trim off a little bit from each side. So I'm going to do this one. So I'm going to do that one for sure. And then, and I'm sorry if you are new to my channel, this is part of what I do. I usually don't do a lot of stuff ahead of time because I seem to come up with my best ideas when I'm just stamping on the fly. And then you guys can pick. So we can either do the see you soon or the rest and relaxation. So y'all can pick which one you want to do there. In the meantime, I'm going to grab a couple out of this Memories and More kit here. And thank you for, I got people from Tennessee and I saw someone from Ohio. There's my Ohio ladies. Thank you guys all for joining me today. Life is better when we're together. That's a really nice one. I like that one a lot. And you can use, what I was thinking is we could use a lot of these. That would be great because you could cut this out and pop it out. That would be a pretty easy one to do. You could do these to make it simple, but you could also use different dies or punches to kind of make it simple, but have like a little bit of a pop. So I thought that would be really nice as well. And let's see what else we have here. Let me go to some of the bigger ones. And some of these are, like this one is a great one because what you could do is we could trim this out with a different die, and maybe it might not necessarily match it, but it could complement it. Oh, hey, Amy. Oh, Amy, thanks for joining me. I know I heard you were in Maryland, so I hope you're having fun joining me today. We have some not very warm weather here in Maryland today, but at least the sun is out. We had rain, a lot of rain last week. A lot of rain. Let me see which other one, because there was another one that has almost a very simple complimentary, and here's the stickers that go with this, so you get 2 sheets of each of these as well. So these would be great if you were doing scrapping or even mini scrapping, because you could always make it work out for something different. So what I'm going to do is I think I'm going to do one with, since this one we're going to trim and we're going to stamp something, I might do something where we have like a little bit of a trim it down and kind of make it into something. So one that's plain. So I think instead of using this, I'm going to go with this one. So I'm going to pick one of the 2 of these. I don't know which one, but which one do we prefer? See you soon or rest and relaxation? See you soon. I see you soon, see you soon, see you soon. All right, we're going with see you soon. So we'll do rest and relaxation another time. All right, so these are going to be our cards. I think I'll do this one. That way we'll have something with words and then something that's kind of plain. This one we're going to stamp something onto, and we're going to also attempt to kind of trim it up a little bit. So before we get started, these 2 are small, so we don't really have to worry about those very much. I'm going to take off a little bit of each side, and I'm going to just stick with an oval when I do this one. So we'll kind of work with what we're going to do there. So if that's 5, so we want this to be, if we went with 5, because then we would have a 4 1/4 by 5 1/2. So technically we could do 5 1/2. So I'm going to take a little bit off of each side. So I'm going to start with a 1/2 inch, even though I know this is a little bit close because it did take off a teeny bit of that flower, but we're going to do a 1/2 inch there and a 1/2 inch here. So there's our smaller card. It did take off just a teeny bit, but still pretty good. So 4, so we're going to do 5. I'm going to do 3 3/4. So I'm going to just shave off just about 1/8 of an inch on each end. No, I'm still doing my Facebook videos. I alternate. On Wednesday, I usually do Facebook, but with the holiday, I didn't really have enough time to be able to squeeze it in. And I do also do YouTube videos live at least once a week as well. So I kind of do both. But sometimes people seem to be having a really difficult time finding me on Facebook. So if you haven't, they did just, again, rechange the settings, so just be wary. I don't really know what's going on with Facebook. Sometimes you see things and then all of a sudden you'll see somebody you haven't seen in maybe in like 15 years that they're on your Facebook feed. So I'm not really quite sure what's going on with that. I am going to, because this side, just to be able to use this piece over here, possibly, I'm going to trim it off more at this end, and then I'll trim off just a little bit on that end. So instead of 5, I'm going to go with, let's see what we want to take off here. So we have 6. I'm going to take a 1/4 inch off here just to remove this strip here. And then the rest of it, I'll go to 5 here. So that's 5. And I'm going to take this one down also to 3 3/4. Thank you for saying that. I appreciate it. Sometimes I feel like I do cards that are either really great or yeah, I still totally get those flops. So you just never know sometimes. So technically, even though I took pieces of these off, we probably could use this to decorate something. More likely, I would use this strip because it's a little bit bigger. And these are kind of, I really can't do much with those. So this one you could add to a card on the inside, or same thing with this one. You can't really add too much with those little birds there, but I guess you could figure something. A master in action. That is very kind of you to say. Thank you. Thank you for saying that. That's really nice. You know what? I even amaze myself sometimes at what I do. So since I kind of cut these 2 different directions, sometimes it makes your paper have an edge on it. So if you ever notice that, I usually just take my bone folder and press out the edge, and it kind of makes it flat again. But I noticed that when I cut with my either cutting tool, doesn't even matter if the blade is new. A lot of times you'll get pieces that kind of don't look really like they go as well as you would want them. Okay, so what I'm going to do is this one, obviously we're going to have to add some sort of a sentiment from. And this one will add something on the center. So, oh, thank you. Minnesota. That's a play on words. Minnesota. Love it. All right, let me see. Where is... All right, so I'm grabbing my Sailing Home, which this kind of goes along with this. So I'm going to use that. And I feel like... Did I have my... I thought I had one other thing. I'm going to keep this out because this has a lot of really nice sentiments in it. So does this one. I'm going to keep those out. Let me just grab my tropical. I've been using it. Oh, you know why? Because I've used it so much. It was in the wrong place. So here is the tropical stamp set. This goes along with these Memories and More cards. Also, there's DSP. There's dies. There's ribbon. There's all kinds of fun stuff. So I'm going to keep all this handy. So I think with this, what I'm going to do, just to kind of break it up a little bit, I'm going to do... where's my paper? I wonder if it has anything on here of the colors. No, this one doesn't. So this is the paper that it comes in now. It doesn't list the colors, but I do have my book. So if you don't have one of these, if you are a customer of mine, you should have gotten it by now along with the Celebration catalog. But if not, if you don't have a demonstrator, feel free to send me an email. I will mail you one out. So cool thing now, they have the colors listed. They'll go along with this. So tomorrow I'll be able to show you because the catalog will be live. So technically I'm still not allowed to show you today. But they have all the colors listed that go along with everything. So I think I'm going to pick... I almost want to go with that shaded spruce because you have a little bit of it here. I wonder what that'll look like. Let me grab that. It might be a little too green, but I don't know. I think that looks really nice. We could always add another layer in there. Let's see what this one looks like. I don't know. I think they kind of look nice. So I'm going to do shaded spruce. Let me grab a actual sheet. And then worst case scenario, I might layer something else in this, like maybe a little bit of crumb cake or something for that one. And then for this one, maybe I'll do this one with soft suede. Because that's always a nice neutralish color. Because this is soft suede here. This might look nice. That one we might need to put a navy border on first, or maybe white. I'm going to have to look at that one and see what that looks like. Because that one might not be what I think. I am going to grab a little bit of scrap here for this piece here, because I think this will look nicer layered onto something. We'll do a little bit of die cutting. This one, I think, maybe I'll use... What's this look like? This is a piece that I clearly did not score correctly because it's got so many lines in it. It doesn't know which way it's going. Yeah, I think I'm gonna stick with a different blue for that because I feel like that suede for that one is gonna be entirely too overwhelming. So maybe, let's see if I have my pool party. Maybe I'll use Balmy Blue for this one. That looks nice. And maybe even with this one, and we'll layer this here and then onto that. So we'll see. All right, now that I have 8 million things out, here's what I'm going to do. Let me move my stamp sets over. I'm going to go ahead and trim up the bases. So I'm going to take this one and I'm going to score it at 4 1/4. Okay, and then I'm going to turn it and cut it at 5 1/2. So this is a full sheet of cardstock. So now we will have something for this. This one, I wanted to have a little bit of a layer. I feel like this is 3 by 4. Let's see if I'm correct. 3. I'll tell you what, man, my math skills have improved. I can't even tell you how many folds since I started making cards. Apparently, I guess I should have made cards back in high school because my math is on point now. So I'm going to trim this down to 3 1/4 by 4 1/4, and that will be my layer for this. Okay, and then this is going to go on here as well. So we'll kind of figure something out for that. I'm not sure exactly. This one, I might have to add one other layer in there. Maybe we'll add like a little bit of a navy layer. Not 100% sure on that one yet. And then same with this. So we'll go to, is this 3? Okay, so we'll go to 4 1/4 by 3 1/4. Anybody start any New Year's resoluting? Did anyone make any plans for doing anything differently in New Year's? I know no one made any plans to buy less craft supplies because that's just insane. Why would you do that to yourself, right? Let's see. So I'm going to do the same thing with this one. Woo! Score it at 4 1/4. I actually exercised 2 days in a row. I'm super proud of myself. Thanks to my friends who helped me, convinced me to go out this morning. It was very cold, but it was really nice. So there will be that one. And then maybe we'll put this, something like this on here. So we're going to figure this out. And we still have to figure out our sentiment part. So not done quite yet. But I am going to try to also maybe do something. I do need to go to the library because I been wanting to go to the library for some time now to find out about maybe doing like a little, kind of like a little simple class and seeing if people like it, because you're not really allowed to do classes at the library, but I could kind of do a freebie and then maybe somebody would like to do classes from there. So we'll see. I really like Our Friendship is Timeless for this one. But I almost wonder, do you guys think it's going to fit in there nicely, or do you think it'll be a little bit too small and we should go something different, a little bit bigger? Because I love this birthday one as well, which I think someone would absolutely love. May your birthday be memorable. I think it'd be super, super pretty. Even though it's kind of in the corner there, we could stamp. I almost don't want to put too much stuff on there because we are going to pop it up. So we're trying to go like minimal. I'm not very good at being minimal, so I'm doing my best to be minimal. So which one do we think? Friendship or birthday on that one? I know. And you know what? That wasn't even my resolution to exercise. It just so happened that one of my friends asked me yesterday to go for a walk, and then a different group of friends asked me today, and I said yes. So woohoo for me. You like the skinny one. All right, we're going to go with that. So we're going to go with the skinny one. I thought it would be nice too, but I was wondering if it would be a little bit too small. However, I am going to do the Stamparatus on this. That way I make sure that I get it in there. And I'm also going to do this. We're going to cut that out with the die. So we have that one. This one's going to just be a very simple as-is card. Kind of same with this one. We're going to do this one just as it is. But this one we're going to need to add something to. So we can even make this one a horizontal card. Oh, we have directions. Set sail in the direction of your dreams. We could do something like that. Let me look and see if there's like a little teeny card that maybe we could fit in here that'll work with it. That way we have like very minimal effort, but maximum output from these cards. That's kind of what I feel like I'm trying to go for. I wonder what this would look like. We just put a little something. Let me see if this is going to fit, because if so, we could kind of do this one. So if we have down here, set sail in the direction of your dreams, we could trim this off and kind of pop that up on a layer. Let's try that. So we'll see. This is kind of spreading out from where I said we were going to start, but we're going to see where we end up. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to grab my trimmer one more time, and I'm going to take, oops, at least, I think 2 inches off of this should work out. Because if we pop this in approximately, so that would be 3. And if we line that up there, that kind of gives us a little teeny bit of wiggle room. So I'm going to just cut at 3. We're going to see what this looks like. And then you could always use this for inside of something on your card. All right, I am going to use navy for this. So I have navy, and for this one, I think I might do something very subtle, like a soft suede I think would be really pretty on there. So let's see what that does. But I am, in the meantime, going to get out my Stamparatus because since we only have a certain amount of sheets with this, I certainly don't want to screw it up by stamping it crooked or sideways or any of the other ways that I could be known to goof it up. So we're going to put that here. So in case you have never seen one of these before, Stamparatus is pretty handy because you can actually take these out. You can put different stamps on them. You can flip them around. You can move them down. They're very, very handy. Pretty cool stamping tool. So let me move this out of the way so I don't get that one stuck. And I'm going to go ahead and do, since we have a stamp that has foam, I took out the black pad. So if you have a photopolymer stamp, you want to leave this in. That way you have a little bit of a cushion. So I'm going to take this out, put this over here in the corner. I usually tend to line it up at the edge of my line here. That way I have something kind of holding it in place, just so I know where it is in case I were to have to redo it. So we're going to put this kind of about here. Before I go any farther, I want to just grab something real quick. Because I did say I wanted to cut this out with a die to kind of pop it up. I want to see if this is going to fit. I know this is, whoopsie, stuck to that. I know this is going to cut a little bit of the flowers out, but kind of the way I'm intending, and hopefully it'll work, I'm going to layer it together so it kind of just looks like one piece. So this is going to fit. That's what I was going for. I want to see if there's one that's a little bit smaller though. That might... That's going to cut just a little bit tight, but I think I almost might want to use this one. Because even if it does, so let's just see, if we have this centered, kind of go, just eyeballing it, and we put this in the center. Technically, it looks like it should fit there pretty well. So what I'm going to do while I have this here is I'm going to grab, almost knocked over water. I'm going to grab just a pencil and I'm going to put a little curve mark here and here. That way I know where I want my die to go when I put it in. And then I'm going to pick this up while I have it there. That way I make sure it's lined up correctly. So it looks, oh, pardon my stomach, pretty straight. Did I mention I walked 5 miles today, but I have eaten peanut butter cookies. So, you know, everything in moderation. All right, so I'm going to pick that up. I'm going to move this over. This is the one we're going to use instead of the bigger one. So I'm going to take my soft suede ink. And if you feel like when you use this Stamparatus, if you don't feel like you get a good inking, another thing you could do is just put a pad underneath of it because it kind of helps it to stay flat when you ink it. And you really only need to touch lightly because remember, you can always re-ink it, okay? So you don't have to be really hard or rough with it. So if you don't like it, and it's not dark enough, you could always take your ink pad, go over it again. It's in the same position because you have your magnet down here, and then just touch it up once more. Okay, so just remember that. That's something very simple to do. So I'm going to put this on the side. We're going to try to do all of our die cutting at the same time. We'll see. Hopefully I remember. I'm going to take and just wipe this off real quick. Oops. Pull this. Also, if you've never stamped with me before, you know there's always a tower of something that could fall precariously perched. It's kind of just how I roll with my stamping. All right, and then up here we were going to do, where's my other stamp? Set sail in the direction of your dreams. So for this one, we were kind of trying to stick, so we were pretty close to where this is. So if you ever are not 100% sure about where you've stamped something and you're kind of like, oh, is that going to be low enough? Is it not going to be low enough? What you could do is you can pick up your stamp. You can do something different. You can either use a piece of window sheet, and I'm just going to turn this now just so you can actually see something since there's a hole here. But you could use a piece of window sheet, and that way you could totally line it up exactly how you want. Or you could just ink it, and I'm just going to ink this in. This isn't the ink we're using, but different color. And you could stamp this down, and that way you know where your placement is. Of course, my paper moved because I didn't have the magnet in there, but you could say, okay, well, when I'm looking at this, that looks like it's going to line up pretty well. So you can always test stamp. If you're worried about something, test stamping, and you don't exactly know where you have it, you could use either a piece of window sheet, which we do sell window sheet, or if you still happen to have your Stamp-A-Majig plastic, you could use that. That way you could hold it over and move it around to see where you like it before you set your paper down. So that's another easy way to do it. Now, what I'm going to generally do, like I said before, hopefully I don't botch this up. We'll see, because I don't think I have any other papers that are this one. I feel like I used the other one. So I'm just going to look and say, I think that's probably inked pretty well. Now, I do know that I did that in a different color, so I'm going to wipe this off. And then just grabbing my, this is just a lint-free towel. I got a whole gigantic container of them from Costco. And then I'm going to ink it up in navy. My navy looks like it would love to be re-inked, but I'll have to remember to do that after. I'm sure I'll probably forget again. So now, with this, remember when I stamped that earlier because we were kind of close to the edge here? If it didn't ink as much as I want it to, and the way this stamp is, it does have a couple lighter spots, but you could always go back and just re-ink it again, make it a little bit darker if you want. And if you still find that when you're stamping, you have a hard time getting the impression up here in the top, there's one more thing you could do. If you have a silicone mat, I'm going to just pull this off and I'll show you. You can slide this under, and it gives you just a teeny bit extra. And then you would set that here, filling this back in, lining that up to where I know it matches. And then you could always press here, and it usually will get that top bit just a little bit better where it fills in. Okay, so that's another thing you can do if you don't feel like you're getting good enough contact up in the edges. And you can also move your mat. You can move it into the corner here. So it does really help with kind of setting the location a little bit better. So let me wipe this off. All right, and now what I'm going to do, and I don't know where I did with my cases, so I'm just going to move these out of the way slightly gently for now, is I'm going to do a little bit of die cutting. And this one, what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually do this with a rectangle, and then these two, again, we're going to just leave these as is. So these will just get assembled just like that. So I'm going to cut this out with a rectangle. I'm going to cut this one out with the oval. This is going to just layer on top. So let me just grab the rectangles. Oops, there's my other magnet I couldn't find. Oh my goodness. Sorry about that. That's what happens when you have things all over the room. Let me just see one that kind of fits, because even though we're going to line this up here, let's see one. Too big. Go down one more. That should be neat. And we could even trim this out and pop that up as well. So we're going to kind of see where we're going to go from here. All right, so for this, for now, I'm going to put this over here. And this one. I'm trying to keep these magnets away from each other so I don't have a calamity, because they will snap. Unfortunately, I've done it myself before. All right, so pull this out. So if you remember, when we made this one, we kind of put these little marks so I would know where to line up the oval. So I'm going to pop this on here. I'm just trying to make sure it looks evenly spaced. And then, where is it? I had it here somewhere. I have a little bit of purple tape because it really does help to kind of keep things in place. Even though this is on a magnetic platform, sometimes the magnets don't hold exactly the way you want them to. So I'm going to put this through first. All right, so there's one. I am going to peel this off. That way I can use this again on that blue card. And the purple tape is not something that Stampin' Up! Carries. However, it is really forgiving, and it is probably one of the easiest tapes to get off. So if you've never used it, it really is very, very nice. I think I got mine. I don't think they carry it on Amazon. I believe I got it at Simon Says Stamp or something like that. So I'm going to try my best. This is probably not going to be perfect, but I'm going to try my best to make sure that it looks like it's evenly spaced and straight. If you really are worried about it, something else you could bring in is a T-square ruler so you could make sure that it felt like it looked like it was straight, but I'm not usually that particular until after the fact when I wish I did it. So I'm just going to leave it as is, but I am going to turn this because you don't really want the straight edges to go straight through the die cutting machine. So I have it turned just a little bit. Let me just do a little bit more because I don't want to rip the edges of my paper. There we go. So I'm going to just feed this through. And then the cool part about this is actually it's going to have double stitching. So both pieces will be stitched. Okay. And here's that. Let me move the big shot, and I'm pretty sure we're done because the rest are going to just get assembled as is. I'll pull this off. Save that. Purple tape too is really nice because you can kind of use it over and over again. So I did go slightly off, but if you can see where my marks are, they are pretty dead on to where I lined them up. So I'm going to just take a little eraser and just erase that little pencil mark. Definitely try to make sure that you do a really light job with your pencil mark. And the other thing I thought when I was going to do this was, this is the original idea I had. You know how usually you pop this piece up? I thought we're going to pop this up instead. So to be like, it's almost like a telescope. So we'll see how that looks. Hopefully it's going to look cute. So I have that. That was with the oval. And then this one again was with the stitched rectangle. So now let's put our cards together. So we're going to do these two first because these two are pretty simple. I'm still not sure what we're going to do with this. We might end up trimming that out and popping it up too, but I'm not really 100% with that yet. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start by kind of lining this up so it matches, figure out where I would want it to be. Make sure it looks for the most part pretty even. And I'm going to take this piece out and I'm going to grab my liquid glue, and I'm just going to put some liquid glue kind of around here and make sure it's facing the correct direction, and I'm going to put this back in. So I'm just placing that right back where it was. Now, one other thing, if this bothers you, and it doesn't usually bother me, but you can see it a little bit here in the vanilla part. If that cutting line bothers you, what you can do is you could put this back through your die cutting machine, just wrapped in like a folded piece of copy paper, and it does smooth out that ridge there. So if that's something that bothers you, that's absolutely something you could do. And in the sake of saving dimensionals, where are they? I'm actually going to use the paper strips or the foam strips instead, just because it'll cover more area. And instead of using the skinny ones, another trick that I came across about a year late, which is just kind of funny because it's like, why did it take me so long to realize that, is I sometimes use these in sets of 2 instead of just singles. So I'm just going to trim this here. And then what I'm going to do is I'm just going to peel up 2 of them together. And I'm going to lay it here. So then, instead of having skinny layers, it is a little bit bigger. And one other thing to tell you, you cannot mix dimensionals and foam strips because they are different heights and your paper will be like, wah. So just remember, if you're using dimensionals, just use dimensionals. If you're using strips, just use strips because otherwise they're all goofed up. And then I'm going to just take this little piece here. So I'm just going to split that into two, put one here, one here. Let's see if this looks about like it almost might be. Oh, that might work out really well. So I'm going to take this one. I'm going to break. Actually, this has a 2 and a 3. So 2. This one's a 3. That just happened to be. Let's see if that's going to measure. That looks about right. So I'm going to do. Oh, these guys don't want to stay together. They must be having an argument. So let's see. 2. Oh, that worked out just perfectly. That's like a miracle here in my craft room. Just happened. And if I can get these apart. It is a lot of dimensionals, but you don't have to do it. If you want to do the opposite way, you could do popping up the center instead. You could also, if you happen to have some craft foam, you could put craft foam on the back of it. So that's another idea of what you could do as well. So just make it work for you. You don't have to do this exact thing. But I do find that when you use more dimensionals, I think it gives you a nicer look versus having the strips of sometimes not having enough dimensionals and not having enough of a backing. So foam, I guess, what do they call it? Like fun foam? That's another thing you could use as well. I actually do have some of that left over that I saved because I used it for something for Christian for a project. And I always say, I really should use the rest of that fun foam. So yes, definitely gives it much better support. So you don't get those cards that kind of look great. And then in like a year, when the person pulls out the card again and looks at it, because everyone saves the cards we give. They never end up in the trash. Ever, never, never, ever, never. Then they're going to pull it out and they're going to say, oh, this looks a little wavy. I wonder if I did something to it. So now all I'm going to do is line this up. And if you're ever worried about this, the other thing you can do if you're worried about movement, you can put a teeny bit of liquid glue on top of this. And it will give you the support of having the foam and the strength of the foam, but it'll give you a little bit of the wiggle. You know what I mean? Oh, I believe that, Diana. No one ever throws our cards away. I can tell you for sure that my nieces never throw my cards away. Obviously, Christian would never throw a card away if he knew it was good for him, right? And then just press it down. So you have like a little something different. Gives just like a different look to it. My grandfather never threw any of my cards away. I probably did not place that as accurately as I would have liked to have because it does have a little bit of a lower layer there. So I probably should have folded this over when I made it, but that's kind of typical of me making my cards. Sometimes I don't line things up the way I like, but we're going to do better with the second one. So there's one. And then for this one, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to fold this ahead of time so I don't make that same mistake twice. Is this one I'm going to line up. So you could, even if you wanted to, I'm not sure what that other side of that probably isn't the fanciest look, but you could flip this over. Which way was the correct way of that? And then you could have like outside and inside if you wanted to do something different, but we're going to put this together. I'm still, even though I know I did do a die cut, you could have done a second die cut and then taken out whatever the little strip was, and that way you'd have like a little bit of a space room in there. And then I think I'm going to end up cutting this out. So I'm going to cut this out, and I'm going to try very hard to stay on the line. So I'm going to stay right outside the light blue line. And I'm not really sure if I'm going to use both pieces yet or not. So I'm trying to be very careful when I cut. Let's see. Well, there went a little bit of my carefulness. I think I was trying to be too careful and I went a little wonky. Let's Okay. So I may, oh, this would kind of be neat if I just added it onto this popped up instead and kind of left this whole thing out, which I was going to do half and half, but okay. So just like that, I went on a little digression. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to put some foam strips on the back of this. And same thing again, when you get this in the whole strip, you do still have these little extra pieces down here. I use the edges. It's kind of like the edges of the dimensionals as well. And let's see. Let me cut that little one. So then I'll have, what's that, 1, 2, 3, 4 pieces here. So I'll just pick these up, split these two apart. And this one I won't use as many. I'll use 4. You like that? I won't use as many. I'm only going to use 4 instead of 404. All right, so I'm going to do the same thing as I did before. Some kind of, oh my God, don't believe what I just did. I just put that on upside down. Oh, Blondie. Well, that's just going to botch up the whole darn card. I can't believe I just did that. Let's see if I can get them off. Gotta love it. 4, but it's really only 4 strips, so I know it's 4 of 8, but yeah, well. This, look at that. That was a miracle. Probably because I didn't push them as hard as I normally do. I just set them there. Oh, heavens. Getting a great start to the new year, huh? All right, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to put this down so I make sure it lines up. So you can see where your points are, right? You're going to line this up and say, okay, where is it fitting? Just like that. Okay. Now, I do still have, where's my little doodad I cut out? I do have this, so I'm going to put this on here. So I think I'm going to put this on before I actually put it down. Just so I can get myself together. So put this here. Kind of lining that up. I did put it all the way to the tip. Now at this point, I'll just go ahead and make sure these are nicely pressed down, which thankfully I didn't do before. Okay. I'm going to go ahead and put some adhesive on the back of here. I don't know if you guys watch any other crafters. I'm sure I'm not the only person you watch, but I'm going to take this just with my finger and kind of make sure I get to the edge. But I was watching a video by Sam Hammond. She's a demonstrator in the UK, and she made the cutest boxes. Believe it or not, the box used only like a 2-inch piece of paper. Make sure that's still lining up correctly. A 2-inch piece of paper. And then she used little teeny scraps left over from something else. It ended up turning out so cute, considering she just used kind of like leftover pieces. So I'm just making sure this is, for the most part, lined up where I want it to be, because since you have liquid glue, you have a little bit of the ability to wiggle it to the side if you need to. But I think that looks pretty good. So I'm just going to press this down with my clean finger. That's why I went with the pinky, because I figured usually I don't use that to push stuff with. Peel off the backing. And then with the other 2 cards, we're going to put those together. What we could do is we can kind of jazz them up with a little bit of ribbon or something. So I'm just making sure this lines up. Kind of fits right in there. So even though it took me a little bit because I put this on backwards, pretty simple card. I mean, really, we're only using 2 pieces of paper, a little bit of die cutting, and thankfully saving the paper that we did. So not so bad so far. So for these other 2, what we'll do is we're going to add a little bit of ribbon or something in there just to kind of make them a little bit more exciting, since they're just layers. So for this first one, the layer that goes with this is it's a braided linen trim. So what we could do, if we wanted to, we could wrap this around. Oh, it'd be nice if we had some little tropical flowers. I could cut some out and we could adhere that to it. That would be really pretty. So we could put this around the back and then layer this down, which I think will be cute. So that's one. This one has the twine that is actually Sahara Sand and Night of Navy. So we'll do something over here with this one. So in the meantime, I'm going to go ahead and I am going to have to pop this up on dimensionals because this is a rather thick ribbon. So I'm just going to put it in place. Let's see if I'm going to do, what do we say? Kind of down here at the bottom. Just for, and you don't have to do this, but just for like a little extra visual interest. So I'm going to go pretty close down here. And these guitars are so darn adorable. It's kind of hard to cover them up. Thankfully, we have a second piece. So I have to make sure I order another pack of this tomorrow. There we go. So that looks cute. So we'll trim that off there. So, oh, you got to feed the grandbabies. That's, hey, I understand. People need to eat. If you happen to still have handy, oh, let's see if I can reach them. If you have any of these handy, these would be adorable. So you have these little flowers. I wonder if you can color these. I'm going to just try one for the heck of it and see. But these were with the tropical accents, I believe, from the catalog last year. So if you happen to have them, you know, you might still have something handy. Let's just see if they color. We'll see how they look. So I'm just going to take a Stampin' Right marker. I don't know how fast it's going to dry. Probably could do it better if you did a, maybe an alcohol marker. Okay, so there's one. So that looks kind of cute. So we'll just add that since we just happen to have it. Might as well get rid of something extra there. I am going to put it on with a couple glue dots though. I'm always feeling the best that I like to do more than one because I don't feel like, for me, one glue dot doesn't ever seem to stick to anything like it does for everybody else in the world. So I'll put this on here. Oops, it is still a little wet, so alcohol marker might have worked a little bit better. Let me see, what do I have? Do I have lipstick? That's lovely lipstick. Let's see. I'm just gonna oops, add a little bit extra. Kind of like nice color worked out between the two of them because part of it is light and part of it is dark. So that kind of looks adorable together. So for this one, I'm just going to grab a couple of regular dimensionals. So I'm probably still going to have to use at least 6 because this is a pretty good size piece of card. Okay, so we'll just layer this right on here. Like that. Adorable. Put some liquid glue on the back. Ooh, let me fold this real quick because that's where I always tend to get into trouble not centering things correctly. I know, I think I'm some sort of a card ninja that I can put cards onto stuff when they're flat, and it always ends up being just a little bit crooked. So there's that. So anyone, maybe if you're going on like a Disney cruise with somebody, this would be really cool. Or someone you're going to visit maybe this summer on vacation. That would be a great card to send them. Really, really fun. So that's really pretty. Okay, and then for the last one, so this one, what I'm going to do with this one, because I think it's really cute, but I'm actually going to wrap this a couple times and kind of do a little bit of a knot. So let's see what I can manage to pull off here. So that was about 4 wraps. And again, that is Sahara Sand and Night of Navy. It's a combo ribbon. So I'm going to just tie this. Instead of going once, I'm going to do twice. Because sometimes when I do 2 times, I'll get a really fun looking knot. Let's see. I'll know whether I'll get a good looking knot when I'm live. But when I'm home by myself, I get a nice looking knot. And I'm just going to spread these out. Just like that. Just nip the ends off. Whoops. Just a little. So there's that. Move this down just a little bit. You're going on a cruise in April. I'm so jealous. Hey, Amy, why don't you PM me your address? I'll send you this card. Are you going cruising with friends? Because that's pretty awesome. We went on our first Disney cruise this past summer. And I got to tell you, I've been on a lot of cruises in my life. And I think that was one of the best cruises I've ever been on. Really, really fun. But Any cruise is better than being home, right? Now, because this kind of has a lot of depth to it, and that's why I didn't put a dimensional under here. So I'm going to take and just put a little bit of glue here, and then I'll kind of smear it around with my finger a little bit. Hopefully this will be up enough that we'll see. If not, I can always slide a dimensional in there. There we go. Let's see what this looks like. Oh, you know what I would have been really smart to do, and I'm going to add it now, even though I did it after the fact. I should have added one of the anchors to this. So instead, we're just going to add it after the fact. So these anchors are also in that same bundle, suite, whatever it is you want to call it. It's got a lot of stuff in it. I'm going to put these on again. I'm just going to add them with, where is my poker? Here it is. I'm just going to add these with some mini glue dots, and then we'll add this to the... So I like to kind of wad these up. I love the Sail Away Suite. I think it's really, really fun. And I think the nice part about it is a lot of times I know people really get stumped with dude cards, guy colors, whatever the case may be. I love doing those type of cards because I don't find them really, I think, as intimidating as some. But this stamp set is so nice because you can do it for either. You could do it for someone who loves the beach or loves nautical stuff or loves boats or loves anchors, or if you're just stumped for an idea. So one more time, let me just fold this. Got a little boogie of adhesive on there. And same thing again, I'm just going to put some liquid glue on the back of this. If y'all haven't seen this before, this is called a Tipsy. And my friends Lisa and John make these. My very good friend Donna sent me one for the first time. I thought it was really cool. And I think it is one of the most amazing tools I've ever had because you get so much more out of your liquid glue if you use that. So if you haven't ever seen it before, you can find them on Etsy or Facebook under Crafters Solutions. And they have a great store. It's local from Ohio, so it's made in the USA. Really great customer service, really fast shipping. It does take a little time to make the product because they do make them custom, and they make them with a 3D printer, but definitely worth the wait, as I hope these cards were as well. So here are our 4 fairly simple cards. Remember, I know this, you're probably like, wow, that's simple, but that took you an hour. However, I didn't make any of these cards until we started. So designing them, figuring out what we were going to use, much easier, I'm sure, once you guys go through your stack of stuff that you have left over and make them. Thank you all so very much for joining me. I really, truly appreciate it. I'm not usually live on a schedule on YouTube. However, you can find me every Wednesday on Facebook at 9:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. I am going to try to get more to a live schedule on YouTube as well. But one great thing about YouTube, if you aren't a subscriber, I would love to have you subscribe. You just have to hit the subscribe button and then turn on the bell. But when you are on YouTube, the nice part is, whether it's live or video, they always send you a notification. And Facebook's gotten a little goofy with the amount of notifications they do or don't send. So that is a great thing to have. You can at least find out when I am on there. If you'd like to buy anything, this is the current host code. If you go to my online store, which is rachthestamper.stampinup.net, you can find all of these supplies. These won't be available till tomorrow. However, if you are going to buy a bunch of stuff, why don't you consider being part of my team? Again, no obligation to sell, buy, have classes. All you got to do is join, get a discount, have some fun. Thank you guys so very much for joining me today. I truly appreciate it. All of the December orders, I will be sending out the thank you cards probably in the next week or so. So those will all be going out. I do send thank yous for every order, no matter how large or small. I thank you guys very, very much for all of your comments today. That's one thing that makes me sad, is once YouTube ends, I lose all the comments that were on here once it's live, but still, it's worth it. So I'm just going to go through and make sure I didn't miss anything before we are finished. I see somebody said they just bought 2 Tipsies. That is awesome. Thank you very much. A card ninja. That's a great idea. Card ninja. I love it. So Amy and Ann are going on cruise. Amy's going on a 20th anniversary cruise. Happy for you. Congratulations. That's awesome. Western Caribbean. That's probably one of my favorite places that I've gone. And, you know, I don't think it's hard to do guy cards for me personally, because I think I do most of my cards that they can kind of go either way, I guess. Maybe that's a good way to put it. Like, mine are probably cards for anybody. So maybe that's where, as I'm really not good, but I try to not make cards specific to one person or the other unless it's a specific card. Hey, Tammy, hope you're doing well. Thank you. I hope you had a great New Year as well. Tammy is in my downline. All right, I'm going back up one more time, and don't worry, this will go on the replay if you missed it. It will start at the beginning. YouTube always replays stuff. And let's see what else. Craft foam. I gotta get my craft foam out. A lot of dimensionals. You're making me laugh there. Purple tape removal masking tape. Oh, there you go. I didn't know it was on Amazon. That's even better. It's probably cheaper on there. Thanks for sharing that, Kathy. All right, well, ladies and gentlemen, I appreciate you joining me today. Thank you so much for stopping in. As always, if you have any questions, all you have to do is send me an email, rachthestamper@gmail.com. I will get back to you as soon as I possibly can. If you have any questions about anything else, and don't mind my little pointer here. I think I'm a teacher talking around in the background. I hope you guys have a wonderful day, and I will see you again real soon. Thanks for watching.